Breaking news! The Ravens dropped 41 points on the Browns in a dominant divisional win, but behind the scoreline, things aren't as perfect as they seem. Derrick Henry struggled. The offensive line got bullied. The defense looked elite, but was it just smoke and mirrors? And one of the team's biggest offseason additions is already being labeled a bust by fans. Something's off in Baltimore, and the questions are piling up fast. But before we uncover what's really going on behind the scenes, do me a quick favor, hit that like button if you're a true Ravens fan. It helps more than you think. And drop a comment below saying "Go Ravens" to let the flock know you're locked in. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Despite a 41-17 victory over the Cleveland Browns, Ravens fans are waking up with more questions than answers, and it's Overreaction Monday for a reason. The first thing being tossed around like a hot potato on social media? That Derrick Henry is cooked. Seriously? Let's set the record straight. Derrick Henry had one of his worst performances as a Raven against the Browns, just 11 carries for 23 yards, averaging a painful 2.1 yards per carry, and no touchdowns. But calling him washed is a complete overreaction. Why? Because this wasn't just on Derrick. Baltimore's offensive line was getting manhandled. Henry was getting hit half a second after the handoff. There was no space, no flow, and zero rhythm in the run game. Todd Monken's play calling didn't help either. It was predictable. It was conservative. And against the Jim Schwartz coached Browns defense, that's a recipe for getting exposed. Schwartz sold out to stop the run, daring Lamar Jackson to beat them through the air. And while Lamar did his part, the game plan did Henry no favors. This isn't a Henry problem. This is a blocking problem, a scheme problem. Let's not forget, he's still Derrick Henry. Now let's talk about the defensive hype train. After allowing just 17 points, 7 of which came in garbage time and another on a fluky deflection, fans were quick to declare, the defense is back. But pump the brakes. That's an overreaction too. Yes, Roquan Smith balled out. His 15-tackle performance, including 3 for loss in just the first quarter, was nothing short of spectacular. And let's not forget the scoop and score touchdown. But let's be honest, it was the Browns. A struggling offense missing key pieces. The Ravens' defense looked fast, aggressive, and opportunistic, sure. But let's not crown them just yet. We've seen this movie before. Dominance one week, confusion the next. Monday Night Football against the Detroit Lions will be the real test. Until then, it's too early to say the defense is back. Encouraging? Yes. Definitive? Not yet. But here's where things get concerning, the offensive line. This might not be an overreaction at all, because right now, it's looking like a legitimate problem. The Browns' defensive front absolutely bullied the Ravens in the trenches. Every time Henry touched the ball, a defender, usually someone like Myles Garrett or rookie Mason Graham, was already in the backfield. Mason Graham, by the way, had 5 tackles, 1 for loss, and looked like a seasoned vet, not a rookie. The line never established dominance. They failed to create running lanes. And even in pass protection, Lamar was forced to work under pressure. This isn't just a one-week issue either. We've now had back-to-back games with major red flags up front. This unit isn't controlling the line of scrimmage the way a Super Bowl contender should. The pressure is mounting on Todd Monken too. His scheme has looked flat at times. He's not putting his weapons in the best position to succeed. And when your offensive line is under siege, that's when creativity has to shine. So far, it hasn't. And if that wasn't enough controversy, the conversation around Jaire Alexander is starting to boil. Some are already calling the trade a bust. After a disastrous debut against Buffalo, graded at just 29 by PFF, Alexander was a healthy scratch against Cleveland. That's led to some fans screaming, the experiment is over. But hold on. That one is definitely an overreaction, at least for now. The truth is, Alexander hadn't played since week 8 of last season. He didn't practice for nearly a full month, from August 9th to September 5th. Throwing him out there before he's fully healthy and game ready was a mistake against Buffalo. Sitting him in week 2 was the right call. The Ravens need to give him time to get back into form, let him heal, practice, and build trust in the system. There's still a chance this trade works out, but the leash is getting shorter. Then there's the pass rush. This is another one that might not be an overreaction. Yes, the Ravens got a few sacks, including a strip sack from Davius Robinson, who had a fantastic game with 6 tackles and that crucial forced fumble. Nambi Medid continues to flash potential. Mike Green showed promise too, but Adaf Owa? Where are you, man? Owa added 20 pounds this offseason, supposedly to become a more physical force. But 1 tackle? A couple of quarterback hits that didn't disrupt anything? That's not enough. And again, it's the Browns, missing starting offensive linemen. If you're not dominating them, how are you going to fare against a real offensive line like Detroit's? So let's pick up right where we left off. Because while Ravens fans should absolutely celebrate a 41-17 dismantling of a division rival, it's what lies beneath the scoreboard that should have everyone on edge. And here's the truth no one wants to say out loud. If these issues aren't fixed, and fast, this team could unravel when the schedule tightens and playoff caliber opponents start stacking up. Let's go deeper on the offensive line problem, because this is quickly turning into a crisis that could derail the entire offense. It's not just about run blocking either. Pass protection has been shaky at best. Lamar Jackson's escapability masks a lot, but it's a dangerous game relying on him to bail the line out on every snap. That's a recipe for breakdowns, fumbles, sacks, and injuries. And this is where the conversation around offensive line coach Joe D'Alessandris is starting to heat up. The inconsistency, the lack of push, and the inability to adjust mid-game, all of that comes back to coaching. The tape doesn't lie. Whether it's miscommunication, missed assignments, or simply getting bullied at the point of attack, this unit isn't holding up. And it doesn't help that we're seeing some of the same issues repeat from last season, even with some personnel changes. That raises the question, is it the players, or is it the system? Either way, this needs to get addressed before Detroit rolls into town. And then there's Todd Monken. This was supposed to be the offensive genius who unlocked a new level for Lamar Jackson. But 2 weeks in, and it feels like Monken is still trying to figure out who this offense really is. Against Cleveland, there was no rhythm, no tempo, no creativity to neutralize the Browns' aggressive defensive front. Where were the misdirections? The quick screens? The pre-snap motion to manipulate coverage? Instead, the Ravens lined up and played right into Jim Schwartz's hands, and they only got away with it because of Lamar's brilliance and a few key turnovers. That's not sustainable. In fact, it's dangerously close to deja vu. Now let's circle back to the defense, because there were positives, but again, we've got to be honest. Roquan Smith? Absolutely elite. Kyle Hamilton? Silent but effective. Geno Stone and Arthur Maulet made some key plays in the secondary. And yes, Nambi Medic looks like a rising star, but we still need to talk about the pass rush, or the lack thereof. This is supposed to be the year that Odefoa takes the leap. He bulked up, refined his technique, talked all offseason about becoming a dominant edge presence. But what we're seeing isn't dominance, it's invisibility. O is physically gifted, no doubt, but the production just isn't there. One tackle and a few pressures against a banged-up offensive line isn't enough. At some point, the hype has to translate to consistent impact. Right now, it's not even close. And what about the blitz packages? The Ravens have long prided themselves on aggressive, unpredictable pressure schemes. But through 2 weeks, it feels like Mike McDonald is being too conservative. Whether it's fear of getting beat deep or a lack of trust in the back end, the pressure isn't getting home often enough. Against Jared Goff and the Lions, that won't fly. Let's not forget the looming concern around Jair Alexander. Yes, we've established it's premature to call this experiment a failure, but the pressure is mounting. A 29 PFF grade in week 1, followed by being inactive in week 2, is not exactly inspiring confidence. And it's not just about health. Even if he returns in a few weeks, is he physically capable of returning to all-pro form? Because if not, the Ravens may have just spent serious draft capital on a player whose best days are behind him. So what does it all mean? It means this roster, while talented, is still searching for identity and consistency. It means that for all the fireworks against Cleveland, this team is still a long way from being the juggernaut some fans think it is. And most importantly, it means that Monday Night Football against the Detroit Lions is shaping up to be the real litmus test. Detroit isn't Cleveland. Jared Goff isn't a backup quarterback. Their O-line is one of the best in football. Their playmakers are fast, physical, and disciplined. And if the Ravens show up with the same cracks they showed against the Browns, they might not survive the storm this time. So Ravens flock, it's time to speak up. Do you believe in this team's trajectory? Is this win a sign of strength or a smokescreen? Is the coaching staff truly maximizing the roster, or are they holding it back? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to hit that like button if you haven't already. And of course, subscribe to the channel for more Ravens content every single week. Until next time, check out the video on screen now for more exclusive Ravens coverage, and as always, go Ravens!